Hello and welcome to GHTV. I'm John Patty.
And I'm Ariel Deutschman, joining John at the desk today.
Here's a look at some of the top headlines of this week. Colleges across Ontario have entered their fourth week on strike. Last Wednesday, Guelph-Humber, Seneca, Fanshawe, and many more students gathered at Queen's Park to protest against the strike. About 300 people attended the event, with solidarity protests being held on school campuses in an attempt to pressure both sides to restart negotiations. On Thursday, talks did resume, but were halted again due to a disagreement on academic freedom within the offer. The union says there wasn't anything suggesting academic freedom for teachers in the latest offer. While administration says the most recent offer did give academic freedom perks and that there is no reason the union should still be on strike. With another rejected proposal, a direct vote will be sent out to teachers in the next 5 to 10 days to settle the strike. For the direct vote to end the strike, 51% of the voters need to agree in favor of ending it. Some schools have already planned to extend their fall exams as late as early January to ensure students don't lose the semester.
Legal cannabis stores will soon be popping up across Ontario. The LCBO and the Ontario Cannabis Retail Corporation have announced 14 of the 40 cities that will be selling weed. Toronto, Vaughan, Brampton, and Hamilton all made the list, along with Ottawa, Thunder Bay, and many more. The LCBO says that guidelines have been put in place for building stores, including that stores will not be built in the same area as schools. The OCRC will be the only retailer in the weed market under new Cannabis Act, which will penalize individual businesses in Ontario. Critics say that they have concerns that 40 stores will not be enough to control the demand for all of Ontario, and that the cannabis bill will not stop individual distribution.
The Toronto Police Service will begin doing daily newscasts on YouTube. This is being done in an effort to consistently reach the public, and police say the newscasts are meant to bring awareness to initiatives that they are involved in as well. Each newscast will be about 3 minutes in length and provide an unfiltered line of information.
Canada is beginning to use its newly approved Magnitsky Law. Through the law, new restrictions have been placed on over 50 officials from Russia, Venezuela, and South Sudan. The act is designed to place restrictions on corrupt government officials. Canada's law is modeled after the Magnitsky Act in the United States, and it was unanimously approved in October. Russian lawyer Sergei Magnitsky died in a Moscow prison after investigating corruption in the Kremlin. That's what inspired the United States to push back against corrupt foreign officials.
Now here's Brandon Vieira with your entertainment update.
Hey John, Kevin Spacey has been fired from the last season of House of Cards. This news didn't come as a surprise to many, as last week our reporter of the show had been suspended due to sexual assault allegations facing Spacey. Anthony Rapp isn't the only person that has accused Spacey of sexual assault and harassment. Actor Robert Cavallos and director Tony Montana have come forward accusing Spacey of harassing them as well. Cavallos posted the following statement on Facebook. There are many of us who have a Kevin Spacey story. It seems like you only needed to be a man under 30 for him to feel free to touch us, Cavallos wrote on Facebook about his time as an artistic director at the Old Vic Theatre in London. It was so common that it turned into a very bad joke amongst us. 8 House of Cards staffers have come forward accusing Spacey of making the House of Cards set a toxic workplace. CNN reported that one ex-employee alleges that Spacey sexually assaulted him. The report accuses Spacey of allegedly targeting staffers who were typically young and male with non-consensual touching and crude comments. Both the CIA talent agency and Spacey's publicist Stacey Wolf have parted ways with the actor following these allegations. Spacey is reportedly seeking treatment and will not be talking to the press for the foreseeable future. And it is unknown how House of Cards will proceed without Spacey. Okay, GHTV viewers, I have a question for you. Who's pre-ordered Taylor Swift's newest album, Reputation? If your answer like me is, hell yeah, don't worry, you're not alone. Reputation, which is set to be released on November 10th, has been pre-ordered by 400,000 people. Swift has beaten the record that she previously set with her last album, 1989. Reputation is now the most pre-ordered album of all time. And if her previous 3 albums are any indication, Swift is bound to sell over 1 million albums in her debuting weeks. All I know is November 10th can't come fast enough because I really need a Queen T album back in my life. That's a wrap in entertainment news this week. I'm Brandon Vieira, and this has been your entertainment update. Now here's Anna Okoto and Francesca Lopresti with a look at sports.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm Anna Okoto.
And I'm Francesca Lopresti. Toronto FC are on to the next round of playoffs as they move past the New York Red Bulls. TFC actually lost the game 1-0, but won the 2-game series on aggregate. Even though the score would suggest the game was a boring encounter, trust me, it wasn't. The game really kicked off in the 45th minute when both teams had a man send off as a fight broke out in the tunnel at halftime. So coming into the second half, you knew it was going to be a cagey affair. Throughout the whole second half, tackles were taking place every couple of minutes, and let's just say things were not going in favor of TFC. TFC also had 2 goals disallowed, which frustrated the fans even more, and things started to really escalate when fans were seen throwing beer cans onto the field in the direction of the ref. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and TFC were able to hold on and see out the series, even though they didn't play great in either games. The sad news is that with the red card picked up by Altidore and the yellow picked up by Javinko, both will miss the next game due to suspensions. TFC's next game will be against the Columbus Crew in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, let's turn our attention to school volleyball, where your Humber Hawks were involved in a historic win. After the women's team defeated the St. Clair Saints clean in 3 sets, Hawks coach Chris Wilkins set the record for being Humber's most winningest coach of all time, with 319 wins. The win sees Wilkins pass the legendary basketball coach Mike Katz. Now, Chris isn't the only member of the Wilkins family looking to break Katz's record, as Wayne Wilkins, Chris's brother who coaches the men's team, is only 3 games behind Chris and looks like he will also pass Katz's record. Good luck to both Humber teams as they conclude its 3-game road trip Friday when they take on Mohawk College.
Keeping it in the OCAA, Humber's men and women basketball teams were in action for their home opener. They both faced Sioux College on Saturday and Sunday. Humber's offense and bench were the stars of the show. Let's start with the ladies. In Game 1, the Hawks beat the Cougars 109-19. This was a strong offensive and defensive game for the Hawks. Humber's Mia Johnson-Campbell put up 16 points, and Anna Jacobs had 3 blocks. In Game 2, Humber beat the Sioux 93-22. All-star CJ Nofuente was great on both ends of the court with 12 points and 6 steals. Laura Meadows came off the bench with 10 points and 5 rebounds. Humber's second unit has been putting in work offensively. This is the first straight game that the bench has produced over 40 points. The Hawks will face Redeemer College on Saturday at 2 p.m. The men's team didn't disappoint either. In Game 1, the Hawks beat the Cougars 109-69. Kenny Edgem led the team with 19 points. Jerome Gale came off the bench and had 6 rebounds and 15 points. In Game 2, the Hawks beat the Sioux 123-52. Kenny Edgem again led the team in points with 23, and Fauzi Muhammad found his game. He scored a career high of 15 points. For the first time in Hawks history, the men's team has scored over 100 points in the last 5 games. The Hawks will face Redeemer at home on Saturday at 4 p.m. I'm Anna Okoto.
And I'm Francesco Lopresti.
Back to you, John.
Thanks, Anna. A Quebec woman has been sentenced to over 7 years in prison after being arrested in Australia. Isabelle Legace pleaded guilty to importing cocaine after a cruise with 2 other friends. Police in Sydney used sniffing dogs to find 95 kilograms of cocaine between the 3 of them. The other 2 involved, Melina Roberge and Andre Tamine, will have their court dates next February.
A Twitter employee shuts down President Donald Trump's Twitter account on their last day of work. The president's account was offline for 11 minutes. Anyone who tried to visit Trump's Twitter found a message saying that the page does not exist. Twitter said on Thursday that the action was likely intentional. Donald Trump tweeted about the incident, saying that this was a sign that he was making an impact.
An animal rights group is opposing an annual Indigenous hunt in the Niagara region. The white-tailed deer hunt is an officially sanctioned event, and it runs in partnership with the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry and an Indigenous Confederacy. The animal rights group says the Indigenous hunting is no different from sport hunting, but the Confederacy says hunting is part of its heritage and that the hunters respect the animals. The ministry says the deer population is growing and that could harm the ecosystem if it's not managed.
31 cases of alleged sexual abuse and exploitation have been filed against UN peacekeepers and workers. 15 of these accusations are against civilians working for the UN Refugee Agency. The allegations are under various stages in their investigations. The UN victims' rights advocates say that survivors in the Central African Republic are receiving medical and psychological assistance. Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced new measures in March to address the increase of sexual abuse by UN peacekeepers. The co-director of AIDS Free World says that the focus of victims' rights advocates have shifted away from ensuring survivors have access to justice to a concept that is a public relations response to serious crimes.
NASA says that the hole in ozone layer is shrinking because of rising temperatures. Scientists say the warm weather has killed off harmful chemicals from entering the atmosphere and damaging the ozone layer. This year, the hole's maximum was about twice as big as the United States, but that is less than its maximum size was in 2015. Scientists say the shrinking is mostly natural, but part of a trend of discontinuing the use of chemicals like chlorine and bromine. Without this ban, it is estimated that an extra 2 million people would have skin cancer.
Some connections are worth celebrating. For Siamese twins Tatiana and Krista Hogan, they're celebrating their 11th birthday. The Hogan sisters were born joined to the head, a very rare condition that affects 1 in 2.5 million babies. Despite type 1 diabetes and epilepsy since birth, these British Columbia twins have overcome all expectations. Now the subject of a CBC documentary called Inseparable, the Hogans are sharing their story with the rest of Canada. The two of them are stay active and playful by running, camping, and playing video games. That's it for GHTV this week. I'm Ariel Deutschman.
And I'm John Patty. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Hello, sports fans. We have just received news that former Blue Jays player Roy Halladay has died.
At noon, Halladay's plane was reported to have crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. No mayday calls were sent prior to the crash. Halladay was the only occupant on the plane.
Player number 34 Halladay was a part of the Toronto Blue Jays from 1998 to 2009 before joining the Philadelphia Phillies in 2010. He was a 2-time Cy Young Award winner and 8-time All-Star.
Halladay was 40 years old, and we'd like to send our condolences to his family and also his friends. Rest in peace, Roy.